At the September 20 Coos County Board of Commissioners meeting this year, I asked the commissioners if they had considered, rather than co-opting the Coos Bay Wagon Road lands, simply buying more private timberland to supplement county revenue. Maine answered they had considered it, but there isn't enough money for a capital purchase. At this point, I suggested that with some analysis of the county's $47 million of investment funds, it might be possible to purchase additional timber property. During this meeting, I acknowledged that some of these funds were dedicated, but with analysis, at which point Maine interrupted, saying, "Analysis doesn't do it," and there was some great guffawing and snorting from the commissioners' bench at the possibility of this much cash in the county coffers, and they would sure like to see that.
I know that. But the problem is, do we buy timberland or 2 years, 3 years down the road, do we lay off half the people in the jail and turn out half the prisoners and let them loose on the public? That's the dilemma we're in.
It's only a dilemma if you haven't really analyzed the whole process.
Analyzing doesn't do it for you. It's dollars.
That day, I sent an email with a link to the Coos County 2010 Annual Audit Report and the page numbers to look at, along with a snapshot of one page. On September 23rd, I published the same information on MGX, listing both page numbers and showing screenshots of both pages. Nevertheless, at the October 4 board meeting, Commissioner Maine, without mentioning my name, misrepresented what I said, suggested I hadn't read the second page, further that I needed some schooling, and clearly indicated he does not understand the county's flow of cash or cash flow statement.
Last time, somebody brought up that said we had about $48 million out there floating around. So I went and looked up the page, which was page 34 of the audit report, where it says that. Yeah, there's $47.8 something million out there. But I guess I'm trying to educate or school or whatever these folks, and reading an auditor statement, because if they'd gone to the next page, page 35, it would have said, carrying amount of investments, $47.8 some million. They looked down here, it said general fund, $13.6 million. Public Works Fund, Road Department, $4.2 million. Mental Health Fund, Public Works is outside the general fund. Mental Health, outside the general fund, about $5.9 million. County Forest Fund, $5.979 million. Library Fund. Government non-major funds in aggregate, $8 million. Waste Disposal Fund, $2.7 and change million. Gas Pipeline, $10.1 and change. Business non-type fund aggregate, $200 and some thousand. When it got all down to it, what we had was, like Fred said, we have the forestry fund, and we have what is operating for this year. And that's it.
Back when I was the financial controller for a $30 million commercial real estate developer, we maintained cash flow statements to track liquidity to enable us to invest in or acquire income-producing assets while computing the timing for near-term cash needs to avoid negative consequences to ongoing operations. In the case of the county investment funds, which include operating accounts that are to replenish throughout the year, according to information available from the county's own website, the balance has not changed significantly since 2007. The carrying amount of investments from fiscal year end 2009 to 2010 have only fluctuated from $48,442,000 in 2009 to $47,883,000 in 2010. No one has said that all that money is available for capital acquisitions, but an analysis of the lowest balances ever held in these accounts indicated there may be as much as $15 million to work with if a viable repayment plan is established.
Some of the folks are most concerned about is that there's the continued talk about the desperate position that we're in, and so one of the things that I think people want to know is what kind of a rainy day type of scenario or capabilities do we have. And what I've heard here of general tax revenue, and then you have general property tax of in excess of $4 million. But the So that's a yearly rotation. Then you also speak of the 14+ million that's dedicated to the different line items, different dedicated funds.
As evidenced by the county's support for the Coos Bay Wagon Road Coquille proposal, the Commission has a great deal of confidence in the timber market, despite its fluctuations. Unfortunately, this Commission doesn't undertake any of its own analysis. Analysis doesn't do it, after all. So it will be up to the public to find viable alternatives on their own.
So when you total those all up, you actually have a buffer, if you want to call it that, because they're all available to operate, and they're all supposed to be there to operate. You have a buffer of somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to possibly even $20 million.